Greetings everyone. In this video I want to talk about how this game is fine-tuned to each individual source player and how the rules don't necessarily apply the exact same way to each source player.
Greetings! This infinite source truth is made possible by the generous contributions and support of viewers like you. Please consider making a contribution now. Thank you.
Your experience here is dependent on several different things. The first being your CYNRGYCL reserve level and your frequency level that you are currently on, as well as the sub level within that frequency level dimensional plane. Whether you have connected with your source self, which means you have harmonized your bodies on frequency level 5 within your source fractal soul cage in your now day, and if you have unlocked your script. Those are really key things in this game that affect everything else. And it's your choices that affect your CYNRGYCL level and your frequency level and whether you are harmonized and in harmony with your source self, which unlocks your script. Let me share a bit more about your CYNRGYCL reserves and how even your daily allotment can be different from source player to source player based on several things. The size of a source player's daily supply allotment is based on several things. Your current reserve tank level, the frequency level that they are currently harmonized on, or if they are in the red zone, they have no source connection. They have no soul connection. Their frequency bodies have simply threads that attach to that soul, but they're in effect soulless also in the red zone, eating meat. If they're in the red zone, they have no soul connection. Hearing that? No soul connection. And in order to have that connection, they must be harmonized on frequency level 5 and their now day to have unlocked their script. The soul connection, the source self connection requires them to be harmonized on frequency level 5 or higher. And also whether they have unlocked their script or not. They cannot rise higher than a level 5 unless they have unlocked their script. Except for, there is an exception, and that would be the elite source players. Whether they have harmonized their frequency bodies on the highest subplane in neutrality, in the neutrality zone of that plane at the end of their day. If they are an elite source player or not. Now, this elite has nothing to do with the elites of the world. This elite has to do with my saying that there is something special about these particular source players. These are not the world's elite. Don't go there. This is not what I'm talking about. Don't confuse what the world calls their elite with source player elites. They are not the same. And the last thing that would affect a source player's daily supply allotment would be the power of their intent. You see, your intent and manifestation abilities are like a muscle. It requires a maturity and an exercising of that muscle or use of that to develop the ability in that. The more it is used, the stronger it gets, and the greater the ability that comes from it. The last 4 things that I just mentioned are really what varies the amount, that really affects the amount that an individual source player will get for their daily supply allotment. Because based on those things, the percentage varies. So someone with the same synergy cell reserve level, based on the last 4 things that I mentioned, they could end up with a different percentage for their daily supply allotment. You see, it is based upon each individual source player and different factors in each individual source player's thinking, abilities, and beliefs. See, some of your beliefs can be holding you back. The better you are at keeping your synergy cell at least 51% full, 51% or more, the more empowerment you have. And obviously, the more powerful your intent and manifestation abilities are. And this is reflected in everything that you do. That includes those things that add to your synergy cell and your ability to add more energy to your synergy cell. Those videos that I made that said the things that you can do to add to your synergy cell. It always takes more energy in your synergy cell to go up in frequency than it does to backslide down. You must have at least 93% in your energy reserve, synergy cell energy reserves, in order to cross outside the box, in order to cross into frequency zones 10 and 11. 93% or more in your synergy cell in order to be able to reach those dimensional frequencies, harmonizing your 5 bodies together in those frequencies. That's just to cross into those frequencies. Now, in order to remain there, to remain in those frequencies, your synergy cell must be at least 83% full. If you drop below that, then you are dropping down back inside the box, and it will take you more work to get back up to that fullness level for you to be able to cross back into those frequency zones 10 and 11. So it's really easy to drop down. It's not as easy to climb back up. And this is why it is a slower climb to get up to the higher frequencies, because it takes more energy, it takes more commitment, it takes more time, it takes better choices, it takes a lot of things. It takes a determination and an intent. You don't get there just by accident. There is an intentional climb. You're not going to get there without the intent and doing the things that it takes, making smart choices for yourself on your journey. Now, the 93% to cross into zones 10 and 11, that is required from every source player, whether they're an elite or not. And that goes for maintaining 83% in order to stay there. That goes for every source player. No exceptions. And you're not going to get there consuming meat. That's a rule that applies to every source player, and I have shared that in many other videos. Now, how can you know what frequency level you are on? If you are neutral, and by neutral, I mean that you don't care what frequency level you're on. It's just fact-finding. You are not emotionally invested in the outcome of whatever your pendulum says. You are simply on a fact-finding mission, and you're okay with whatever the reading says for frequency level that you are on. And if you have a good source self connection, you can determine what level you're harmonized on, or if you're harmonized at all, and on what levels your individual frequency bodies are on. Which one needs work. Now, as far as the 5 frequency bodies, there's a video on the 5 frequency bodies, what they are. Your source fractal is the only one that is non-movable. It is in a soul cage and it is non-movable. And that soul cage expands and is covering frequency levels 5 through 11. And that is why you have no soul connection if you are lower than a frequency level 5. It's not possible. You have a thread connection that is keeping you from totally severing yourself from your source connection, but you do not have a soul connection, a soul cage connection, a source self connection. You are not harmonized in that soul cage with your source self fractal. That's where your empowerment is. In your now day, because that fractal, that soul cage, only exists in the now day. It doesn't exist in the past. It doesn't exist in the future. And this is why you need to stay in your now day, to stay harmonized with your source fractal in this now day, in the soul cage, and in frequency levels 5 through 11. Now I want to talk a little bit more about retrieving your energies at the end of the day. All unused energies are automatically dumped into your CYNRGYCL reserve, as well as all energies that were used in your day that were used up when you were happy, content, and making a conscious choice to enjoy your experience here. Those all automatically go into your CYNRGYCL reserve at the end of the day, regardless of whether you are of a frequency level that you can retrieve those energies or not. Now, the ones that cannot be retrieved are the ones that go into what I call the red bin, which is those moments during the day when you are not enjoying your day, when you are not consciously aware and intentionally committed to enjoying your journey. It is very easy for a source player to not be in a happy, content state and slip out of their now day and just kind of forget about the journey and just not being really negative about it, but not being neutral or content in their experience. And those energies go into that red bin, and they have to be retrieved at the end of the day by someone who is of a frequency level 5 or higher with an unlocked script. Harmonized in a frequency level 5 and in an unlocked script in order to be able to retrieve those energies. Or they are forfeited to the matrix. Most source players have energies that need to be retrieved that are not necessarily negative. It's simply because they have stepped out of their now day, or they are not neutral, not mindful of their journey and of this game. Now, depending on your frequency level and how creative you can get, will determine how easy or it is for you to retrieve your daily energy supply. If you reach the highest frequency level 11, and you may have the ability to just automatically set yourself on autopilot to retrieve your energies from the day. At a harmonized frequency level 11, you may be able to just automatically program. You may be able to simply state with your intent that all retrievable energies be returned to you and nothing going to the matrix. And that's only if you're at a frequency level 11 and are harmonized on that frequency. And that would need to be checked day to day and verified that you were successful in doing it. Otherwise, you would have to do it a different way. But you are a powerful creator, and you need to know that. And your frequency level and your CYNRGYCL level will determine how powerful you are, if you are harmonized or not in this game. And all of that affects the rules that apply to you and how much more energy you can collect simply by making the best choices and putting yourself in the right frequencies and harmonizing your frequency bodies. This game is an amazing game, and we have done an amazing job of creating it. And we continue to create our daily experiences as we go. As we go. Make this your best life yet. Raise your frequency. Connect to your source self. Use your intent. Exercise it. Exercise your manifest intent and experience your best life yet. Be aware of your CYNRGYCL energy reserves and keep them topped up. So if you have found the information that I've shared in these videos to be of benefit to you, then it benefits you to do an energy exchange via PayPal or Patreon. And it is you saying thank you for the energies that I have put out there for you and the work that I have done. You get out of these videos what you put into them, and it is a frequency unlock within you. Abundance, health, and prosperity to you.